Welcome to the Ridge Outdoors. Today we're going to be sharpening a chef's knife, so stay tuned and I'll show you how to do it. Before we get started, there are a certain just rule of thumb for the angles of knives. A chef's knife is generally going to be around the 20-degree mark. It's going to be 17 degrees for razor blades or fillet knives, and 25 degrees for your average hunting knife. If it's a heavy duty knife, kind of like a K-bar or a fighting style knife, or just kind of a multi-use beat up knife, it's gonna be about 30 degrees. And this is all preference thing, but these are gonna be your general angles for knives. So with a Whetstone system, this one I got off of Amazon for $35 or $40. I'll have the link below so you can buy the same one. Fairly inexpensive, but it does have some good grits on here. It has a 400 grit, 1,000 to 3,000 to 8,000. You can get nicer ones that have not as big steps in between, and some of them that go up to even finer grit, but this has worked perfect for me so far. So we're gonna put these in a water bath, let them bubble out. You can actually hear them a little bit. It has a fixing block so you can police up your Whetstones. This just keeps them nice and smooth and nice and level. If it has a bunch of dings out of it, it's not gonna be very good for sharpening your knives. And then it also does come with a leather strop. This one is just for pretty much polishing your blade, getting it as sharp as it can be. I did just purchase pretty much a block version of this. I'll bring it out in just a second. I'm gonna use that instead. These are really nice if you keep them on a level surface. However, if you're just hook it to something, you can get more of a convex edge on your blade. Certain blades you want that, but most blades and like a chef's knife, you're not gonna want that. So just to see how dull this is, real dull. This has had a lot of, holy crap. This had a lot of use. We're gonna sharpen this. You wanna go even numbers on each side. So I either do 5 or 10 passes on one side, then I'll flip it over and do the other side. Periodically also you wanna put a little water on top of your stone to make sure it stays nice and wet. I'm starting off with the 400. You can kind of feel what angle it wants to go to as well. These do take a little bit more practice than some other knife sharpeners. I'm still not 100% perfect on it. You want to try to use the whole stone so it wears the same. Oops, yeah, real bad. There we go. Okay, I did about 50 passes on the 400. If your knife isn't really dull or doesn't need reshaped at all, or if it doesn't have any dings in the blade, you probably could skip the 400 if you really wanted to. Now we're gonna dress up the stone, just make sure it's nice and level. Doesn't take too much. We're just gonna flip it over, re-soak it for a minute, moving up to 1,000. Every time you move up a grit, double how many passes. So if I want 40 on the last one, I wanna go 80 on this one, and each time I move up, I'll do that. We dressed the last stone, and now we got 3,000 grit on here. Consistency is really important. If you start changing up your angles, especially when you get to this level, it's just not gonna work out quite as well. So make sure you're nice and consistent. And I'm only putting a few pounds of pressure down. Let the stone and the blade do most of the work. I'm probably putting between 5 and 10 pounds of pressure. You don't need much pressure. We're now on our last stone, 8,000 grit. Like I said, you can buy kits, go up well past this, but this has been all I've needed. And for the $40 range, this has worked out really well for me. For this stone, I'm probably gonna try to go at least 200 passes per side. But if I feel like it's getting sharp enough, we'll stop. Dressing up the last block. We went around 200, 250 passes. And then we're gonna use this strop. This one, once again, an Amazon purchase, and it comes with some jeweler's rouge. So that'll just put a little bit of grit to it, so that'll polish that blade. If I'm doing this all dumb, definitely let me know, because I know the right people will. But I'm by no means a master sharpener. I'm normally the guy at my shop that people come to sharpen things. I'm fairly new to the Whetstones. I'll show a couple other options and have some other options linked below. When it comes to the strop, we're going the blade, you're dragging it across it, and you're literally just polishing the edge of the blade. Like I've never used this one. Still want to try to get the same angle, but you'll kind of feel it in the bevel, and it'll kind of naturally want to go that way for the most part. So let's try the paper test again. World of difference. Also, my wife hates it when I do this, but I like to do the the arm hair test here. And yeah, I got a bald spot now. It's crazy how much difference stropping it on leather makes. Even if I would have just went to 8,000, it still would have been pretty sharp, but just getting a good polished edge with that leather makes a huge difference. Other sharpeners I like, just handheld work sharpener does pretty well, especially just on your everyday beat around knives. Just pass it through the two sides, 20, 30 sides on one, and maybe double that on the other. I don't have it with me, but I have either a Smith or maybe a Lansky little jig that you put the knife in, and it has different angles. That one is foolproof. Make sure that you get a good one. Some of the more extreme angles, it will grind on itself for the actual stone. So look at reviews. I'll put a link to the one I have. Mine does grind against itself, but for everyday knives, and if you're not trying to do a chef's knife, a normal about 20-degree angle, it'll put that angle on there really nice. So that one's 100% foolproof. This one's foolproof. The Whetstone and Strop takes a little bit more practice. I'm still working at getting it really honed in. However, the more you practice, the better you're gonna get, the quicker you're gonna get. At first, you really wanna focus on that angle, and they do make little blocks of different angles. So if you're going for like a 17-degree angle or 23-degree angle, it'll go on there. You can match the knife up, and then you can just keep going, and that'll be a guide to help you. So just something to think about. I have links to everything I talked about, and I'll have links to this Whetstone. If you like this video, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of this stuff, let me know in the comments, and I'll respond back to you. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.